myth of the display of high value and how it might actually be holding you back, just the whole ideology around it. Now, I have heard many times of coaches that have gained some prominence recently talking about DHV, which in turn they were using as a marketing strategy. They were actually DHVing through people who were pretending to be clients when in fact they were just salespeople saying, oh, these coaches are really good. And they were DHVing the clients to get clients, and they use that sales technique to as a strategy to meet and pick up women. And they also kind of stole the whole idea of the DHV from Mystery himself in the past. And I would like to tell you a story which is not uncommon in the West these days, of a high value man who is either the CEO, he's an executive, high ranking in his company, he's making a lot of money, he owns his own house, he drives a sports car, he hits the gym on a regular basis. He literally ticks all of the boxes. He has a large social circle of friends that want to go to expensive restaurants and expensive bars after work on Thursday, Friday, any time of the week, because he's a high value man who is respected within his company. He makes a lot of money. He doesn't have any debt. His family respects him, his community respects him, and he also has a lot of time to hit the gym. He also has the ability to go to a whole range of physicians, doctors, and he takes vitamins. He ticks all of the boxes of a high value man, where he doesn't really need to be displaying any sort of value in any way, shape or form. And this man who's high value finds himself coming into contact with a beautiful girl who is in one of the companies that he either owns or he is highly ranked in that workplace. And this is very common, that you'll meet someone at work, just the usual way that the average person would meet their partner is either university, school, work, and then it's less likely under social circle conditions, and then there's nightclubs or a cold approach, etc. But the average person would meet a girl under these circumstances, and so he will meet her, he'll bump into her. They're very nervous when they first meet. It feels like they're teenagers again. And over time, he goes out of his way to try to get up close to her and have more contact. And he eventually gets the courage to ask for her number. He gets her number, and they eventually go out on a date. And they're both very nervous. They feel like they're teenagers, they're virgins. It's like the first date ever, and this feels like love to him. And he decides on the first date to pick her up in his expensive sports car. You know, he might not have a Bugatti, but he might have a lot of money, and he'll throw it around. He'll take it to an expensive restaurant, and then after the date, he'll drive her home. He'll be a total gentleman. He won't even hold her hand. He won't even give her a hug after the first date. And she will be all nervous. She'll be happy. He will be nervous. And he will feel like he's building rapport with her. He feels like he's displaying the high value. He picks her up in this expensive car. He's dressed really well. He doesn't come across as a nerd. He's fully aware that there's a lot of wealthy nerds. So he shows a bit of muscle as well, because he's now hitting the gym. He might even be taking testosterone replacement therapy or something along those lines to make sure he looks a bit muscular. So he's ticking all the boxes. And then the second date, he might take her out and introduce her to some high value friends. So she sees the car, she sees the money being thrown around, she sees the high value friends. She starts to think that she might have opportunities within the company now because she's connected with one of the most important men in the company. And he keeps throwing money around and he keeps displaying as much high value as he possibly can. And multiple dates go by and he holds her hand a little bit. They're very nervous, they're giggling. He eventually, after one date, he drops her home and he gets a kiss. He finally gets a kiss on the third or fourth date and they feel like they're going somewhere, right? And in between, what happens is she leaves work, maybe between the second or the third date, while he's dating her and he's working really hard to get her. They're very nervous and they feel like things are going really well. She leaves work and she's walking home. She's walking to the train or the bus. She's going to catch some public transport. She's going to go to the gym. And a guy who basically works in a low-ranking job. He has no money. He's kind of scruffy. He's got baggy pants on. His shoes are, he's got some stubble. He works in the equivalent of McDonald's or something like that in some fast food, and he might even be a pizza delivery driver at night time. And this guy who's a little bit rough around the edges, he's not as muscular as the rich guy. He doesn't have a good car. In fact, he probably doesn't even have a car at all. And he approached that girl. But he approached her with the intent to sleep with her as soon as possible. And he gets her number and she goes out on a sneaky date while she is dating the high value man who's taking his time. And on the first date, he doesn't take her to a restaurant. He goes around, he picks her up, and he takes her directly home and he orders takeaway food. They sit on his bed in his tiny little rough apartment, and he sleeps with her. And he gives her the night of her life. She might not go back to him because he might not provide a lot to him, but she will sleep with him. And the only reason why she may or may not go back to this guy is because she has herself, the guy who's displaying high value, showing a lot of value and letting her know that he's got all these extra things that he can provide her, basically almost like a pay pig, almost like a simp, almost like someone who's friend zoned until he provides enough value. And maybe eventually down the track, she might get bored dating the high value man and go back and sleep with the guy who's a little bit rough around the edges. And this is happening every day in the West. Now, the whole idea that you need to display high value and you need to look for, you need to be this man, this red-pilled man that has money, status, the car, the house. It's just not needed in the West, and that's basically because women in the West have access to all the food, the shelter, the entertainment that they need. They don't need you're overkilling her with, it's overkill. The sports car's not even needed in the West. The whole idea that a woman can look at your sports car and understand how much it costs and how much work went into you acquiring that, they just don't understand it. They don't understand what it's like to pay off a mortgage or own a house, or very few have worked really hard without the political help of the corruption in the West to get to where they are. So they don't understand where you're at and how you got there. If anything, they just see it as overkill. And so by displaying a lot of high value and taking your time and being a respectful gentleman, you're kind of ruining your dating life. And this example is being replicated all across the West. And a lot of the times, The guy who lives in the crappy, dirty little one-bedroom apartment that doesn't have a car and he delivers pizzas at night and works in McDonald's, is sleeping with the hottest girls, because in a way they don't need that. And the type of girl who's going to go for you because you've displayed high value is a gold digger, and that's someone that you don't even want anyway. She's more likely to fall in love with the broke guy, and it's more likely to be a real connection. And so that's something that I want you guys to ponder. And then ask yourself, are you getting enough leads? Are you meeting enough women? Is this you? And if this is you, then I suggest you try out my 30-day challenge. The digital products that I've got in the description or on my website, 30-day challenge, which is how to approach girls and pick them up. I'm a prime example of someone who's been broke forever and picked up a lot of those beautiful girls that the high value guys want. In fact, I dare admit it publicly that I've been to the apartments of some of these high value men's place to sleep with their girlfriends while they're famous on TV, by just approaching them in the street. And it's more of an authentic connection. It's more exciting for everybody. And if you're one of those guys, you're doing it wrong, maybe you should learn to do this. Sign up to some online coaching. If you've got enough money, a few phone calls is basically free and it'll change your life. It's basically free phone calls. You have to pay for them, but it will change your life if you're one of these guys that's out there doing the displaying high value and trying to get ahead that way. It's not optimized for Western society. It's just not. It's not going to get you anywhere, and it's not going to work. And if it does work, there's a good chance that she's been doing you dirty on the side because you weren't doing it right in the first place. And so give this video a thumbs up if it resonates with you. Sign up to some online coaching, try out the 30-day challenge. I'm also considering putting together a proper book, my own philosophy on game and in book form, how to approach girls. I'm seriously considering putting that book together and creating another product on where to game. So you might be in your hometown and literally 2 blocks away is the perfect spot for you to be meeting women, but you're not there ever. This digital product will show you not only the 30-day challenge approaching, but also where to do your approaching, which is a very important aspect of this. So hopefully that's been helpful. Give me a thumbs up if it resonated with you. Give me a subscribe, and I recommend online coaching if this sounds like you. If this has happened to you, reach out, do some online coaching. My private calls are almost priceless. They're life-changing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.